Mike, thanks very much for this call. Look, I just want to say you have helped me enormously. You've given up your time for free on numerous occasions to give me some one-to-one mentoring, and it's pure altruism. I know there's nothing in it for you. Um, I have sort of modeled my progress on very much on the sort of things, the tips and advice that you've given me. Could you just, for anyone else watching this, could you just give me a brief overview of your own story and, how you've developed your own business in the SFM and sort of results that you've got?
Sure. So my story was basically I had a 30-year career in software sales, a very successful career in software sales. But I guess I'd risen to such a level, sales director, European sales director, big fancy titles, but I had a lot of responsibility and it turned into a lot of stress. I had massive multi-million-dollar targets to hit month in, month out. And one day I had a chat to my CEO, my boss, and he called me out and he said, I don't think your heart's in this anymore. And I thought he was talking about the job, the job I had with him. But he was challenging my passion for selling, being in sales. I took umbrage to that. We had a bit of an argument. I told him to poke his job. So I got fired on the spot on that day. And even though I felt a massive sense of relief when that happened, a few weeks later, I then started worrying about, well, how am I going to earn an income? Clearly, I'll just have to update my CV and go and get another job in software sales, which was the obvious path. I'd done it time and time again before, but something he said just started to eat away at me. And I started to think, when I had this time to think, that he was right. I really wasn't passionate about this selling anymore. And I needed to find a different way, but I'm not highly educated. I have no degrees or, didn't know anything other than selling for 30 years. So what could I do? I was clueless. And I was really bored one day and I messing around on YouTube looking for underwater videos, and this ad popped up. Young guy, probably about 20, maybe 30 years younger than me. I'm mid-50s. And he stumbled across this community of digital entrepreneurs that support an education platform, a global education platform. And he was earning enough money to leave his software sales job, funny enough, similar career, travel the world and earn money just by having an internet connection and having his business running 24/7. And that really sparked my imagination and showed me that there was a different way to earn an income than selling my time for money, working for a boss or working for a big corporation. So I think the fear of doing another 10, 20 years in the career I was in overcome the fear of stepping into something completely new, something I didn't know anything about. That pushed me on to join the SFM and see whether I could make it work. And I did. It was the best decision I ever made in my life, by far. Apart from marrying my wife.
You've got to say that, though. Have you got any figures? Possible?
Yeah, I'm still learning, so I can share my screen if I can work out. I'm not very technical, so if I lose you, then I'll apologise in advance.
Right.
But that was one of my biggest fears. I came into this with no technology skills.
I'm too.
Okay, even though I sold technology, I couldn't use it. But okay. So here's my. I'll just move us out of the way.
Wow, what are we talking about? How long is this? What period is this?
So I started with the SFM in April 2019. I wasn't marketing until July 2019. And so therefore my first, if you can see, I don't know whether our pictures are in the way. So my first paycheck, my first business invoice, $380, but I spent a lot more on advertising than that. So it was a loss. A month later, I was up to $2,300, still making a a slight loss on what I was spending on advertising. My third month, I finally broke even, made a very small profit because I was increasing my ad spend. I could see things were working. I was launching new ads, trying new things as they teach you. And then in October, that's my fourth month, I had my breakthrough. Huge profit, enough for me to pay for my advertising for many months to come. And more importantly, at that point, $21,000, I knew that I'd never have to go and get another job again. You know, that was my breakthrough moment. And that was the month my wife came to me, who was very doubting about what I was doing. She thought I was wasting my time. It was some crazy harebrained idea that I had. And that was the month when she saw these results. She said, "Can you get me out of my job as well?" So I did. So now she works with me part-time, and she still works with the NHS part-time because of COVID and they need her, but otherwise she'd be working with me full-time. But that was really nice to have her as being really doubtful and doubting, to suddenly come to me to say, "Hey, help me get out of my job too. Let's work on this together," which was a wonderful. The void was, I moved from being paid in pounds to dollars, and I broke the system. So I actually, I did get paid that month, but it doesn't show. And then I went on from January onwards, I was being paid in dollars because the interest rates were favorable to be paid in dollars. And as you can see, I slowly, surely started to scale my business. I had my best month, $33,000 in a month. That was a huge profit. But every month here, I'm making probably about £10,000 profit per month on average. So earning enough money. I don't want to be a millionaire, but I want to earn enough money that I can live comfortably, support my wife, travel the world when we're allowed to travel. A lot of this money's been earned while we were traveling to Australia, South Africa, Spain, America, the Caribbean. Obviously COVID came, so that's clipped our wings for a while. But and it's building me enough money to start my second business, which is probably going to be selling FX AI software online, again, a fully automated business like the SFM. So yeah, those are my results. But I think those are just numbers. Those are earnings, and you know, they're quite impressive earnings. But the biggest value I've got, other than the monetary value, is I now work 5 to 6 hours a week. Okay. I now usually don't know what day of the week it is. When I go out walking the dog with my wife in the morning, I constantly have to ask her, "What day is it today?" And I don't really care. I don't care if it's a Monday. I don't care if it's a Sunday, Thursday. It's a wonderful feeling not living life by the clock, by someone else's clock, a boss, a corporation, not having the stress that I used to have, panic attacks I used to have, worrying about sales meetings that I had to report to, my results. I work as hard as I want to. Only I'm responsible for the sales figures, these figures. You know, if I work harder, I guess I could earn more money, but I don't want to. I value my time. I value this money, but having the time to enjoy this money, rather than like I used to for the last 30 years, working just for the money and never having time to enjoy the money. My whole life's transformed, and I now have a business that runs 24/7, earning me money when I sleep, earning me money wherever I am in the world, and I'm utterly blessed. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Mark. I mean, you know, we should say that your results are not typical, but you have, I mean, the SFM training is fantastic, and the support is amazing.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think you're typical of SFM members in that everyone is very happy to help each other and to support each other. And you have very much contributed to me getting my business on track and putting my business in profit. And I'm really grateful for that. And when you talk about the reasons for you embarking on this journey in the first place, I think you put your finger on it for very many people, and that's to be free, to make your own decisions, to be in control of your own life, and to live it instead of having a job where you know you're spend most of your time earning money for what? To pay for things that you don't get time to enjoy.
Totally.
There's an insanity in that.
Totally. I mean, when I was in software sales and I'd risen to quite a high level, I was earning really good money. I was earning multiple six figures, which I am now in my online business. But I never enjoyed that money. You know, in fact, I was in debt. And, you know, it wasn't until my second divorce, because I spent my entire life chasing money, flying around the world. It was all about the money. And I kidded myself, you know, I kidded myself that this money was for my kids and my wife, and it wasn't. I don't know what it was. I still don't know what it was today. You know, what was I running away from? Investing all your time to chase money just for me ended up as disaster. It ended up as a second divorce. I lost my wife, my kids, my dogs, my house, and I ended up with 150 grand's worth of debt. So was that really worth 20 years of chasing a lot of money and ending up with nothing? The answer is no. So I was determined to put myself in a position where this didn't happen a third time. My third and final wife. You know, I was lucky to find her, and she dragged me out of the gutter with nothing, basically. Wanted me for me rather than my money or my earning potential. And the only thing that was left broken in my life that I didn't realize until my boss called me out was I wasn't happy in my job. And I thought I was. I genuinely thought I love sales, and I always have done. And the other sort of issue, I guess, was I thought those sales skills would transfer over to online selling. I was very arrogant. And when I first started the SFM training, I skipped through a lot of it really fast, just determined to get to earning the money very, very quickly. And I wasted a load of money on a particular platform. In fact, I got thrown off of that social media platform, that advertising platform, because I was so bad. And it's because I thought all the skills I'd learned as a sales guy, I could put to use. And I was taught very quickly by the SFM that was not the case. Marketing was completely different from selling. Okay, you're selling physical products or physical services. You're promoting other people's products and services often. But the selling skills, it's absolutely irrelevant, because what you do is you're building an offering that people will actually come to you and buy from you, rather than you having to chase people on the phone or, you know, go and see people, which is what I used to do, to try and convince them to buy whatever it was you were selling. These people are actually coming to you and asking to purchase, which is the reverse of sales. It's very hard to explain, but it took me a good few months to realize that all my sales skills were irrelevant, and I had to learn from scratch from the amazing mentors that we've got and people in the community, just like I've helped you. There were people in the community that helped me. I wanted to quit when the technology phase got really tough for me because I wasn't technical. I wanted to quit when the marketing phase blew up in my face because I refused to listen and learn. I was arrogant. And there was a community, luckily, that kept me going and encouraged me not to give up and not to quit. This is not I thought it was, this is not a quick, pay your money and become a millionaire in a few months' time. This is hard. This is reskilling. This is a slow process. It takes months. And yeah, that's really what I want to say. But it's worthwhile. If you put in the effort, if you put in the time, if you don't quit and carry on trusting the process, this process that we learn in the SFM, you will succeed. There's no other option but to succeed, however long it takes. The system works. The education's here. The mentors are here. The global community is here to support you. If you just keep going, you will get it right. You will earn money. Yeah.
Thanks, Mike. That's fantastic. If you could summarize in 1 or 2 words what the last 16 months has meant to you, how would you express that?
What has it meant to me? It's without getting emotional, it's probably saved my life, because it wasn't until I was a few months into the SFM and as I said, I started getting results, started to realize, hey, I'm never going to have a job again, ever. I'm never going to have a boss again, ever. That corporate mentality of the clock ticking, you know, Monday to Friday, what we're taught as children, you know, sit in a row, learn how you learn the lessons, learn how to get a job and go work for the man for the rest of your life. When you realize that, and it takes a few months to realize that when you start earning money online, that's all gone. That's old. That's the industrial way of doing things. This is a new digital revolution we're living through now, and there's a whole new way of doing things to earn an income online. That was overpowering for me. That was, I just can't describe the relief that I've found another way, that I didn't have to kill myself, which is what I was doing, working a corporate, highly stressed corporate career. There was another way. There was a far more enjoyable way of earning money online. Yeah, that's a big epiphany for me. Yeah.
Thanks very much, Mike.